Thanks for having us again. We've got Tom Latham here for the next 10 or 15 minutes. We'd like to... Sorry.
Thank you. Tom, nice to see you here. It's been since 2022 that the Black Cats came up against England at Lord's. How's the team feeling about this really special occasion?
Yeah, very excited. As you said, it's not often that you get the opportunity to play a series in England, but also a game here at Lord's. And some of us that have been around a little bit longer have had the opportunity to play in this game here at Lord's. But yeah, it's obviously a really special place. Obviously the home of cricket. So to get the opportunity to play over here for the guys here for the first time is really exciting, and we've had a good couple of weeks preparation leading in to this test, with some trainings back home and also a test last week against Ireland. So yeah, boys are ready to go.
There is that experience in the team and some people that it's their first time, as you say. Would you say that the team is in a stronger place with more depth than in 2022?
I can't actually remember the side back then, but we obviously had a lot of experience back then as well. From a bowling point of view, where it's probably switched around a little bit, where the experience probably lies in the top order and in a batting unit point of view. But we've got some fresh faces from a bowling point of view, some guys that are coming back that haven't necessarily played Test cricket for a period of time, but they do have experiences behind them, which is really important. So. Yeah, I think for us, for individuals, it's just, it's sort of been a long time coming. It's one of those series that you sort of earmark and you look to the future, and for it to finally be here is really cool.
You talked about where the team's at, and we've just heard from Ben Stokes about wanting to start strong with innings against New Zealand. What do you think is going to be important to nail when you come up against this formidable competition?
Yeah, as you said, they're a formidable side. They've, got a lot of talent. It's obviously their first series, for a period of time, and it's our first series for a period of time as well. So, for us to start well is really important. Biggest thing for us is to play our game or our blueprint as best as we can, and it's fortunate we have played England a fair bit over recent years, whether it be here or whether it be at home. So, our experiences playing against the side, we do have some knowledge there. But again, you always want to start a series well. Whatever that may be tomorrow with bat or ball, hopefully we can hit the ground running.
And how hungry are New Zealand to beat England?
Yeah, I think any sportsman, obviously. The end goal is to win. You come here to win, but I guess there's a lot of water to go under the bridge, before you get to that point. And, for us, as I said, it's about coming here and playing our brand as best we can. Obviously, two brands that do differ a little bit, but, if we're able to do that, then we know we'll give ourselves a chance of being where we want to at the end. And we know Test cricket, it ebbs and flows. There's moments, there's small moments that can win games. So I guess being in those moments and giving ourselves an opportunity to be there is what we want. And yeah, it's going to be a great series ahead.
Thank you, Tom.
Can you, if you do rewind to that series 4 years ago, England sort of came out firing with a new type of play, and at the Ashes, Ben Stokes said that maybe they've become predictable. Do you feel like you're going to face a new opposition again? That sort of that game plan that you came up against the last couple of series is maybe on the turn?
I think from a style of play, there might be a few tweaks here and there from the way that they go about things, but I think mainly they're going to come in with the same approach, and for us, it's always been about trying to adapt to the way teams play, whether it be England, whether it be other opposition as well. It's about trying to adapt to that. And as I said, we're fortunate enough that we have played against this side who do play a slightly different brand than other teams. But, whatever they come with, if it is different, then again, we have to adapt to what that may look like. And if they come with a similar approach, then we've had those experiences in previous years where, we can lean back on and go from there. As you said, it was, 2022 was, I think, the first series, where, they came out and played really well. We had our moments throughout that series and most games, but, they managed to get across the line. So, we'll obviously have to wait and see.
Matt Henry sort of the most experienced bowler currently in the side. How has he sort of kicked on since a few retirements in the last few years?
Yeah, I think if you look at Henna's record over the last 3-4 years, since taking the new ball, he's been amazing for us. I think as I said, his record speaks for itself. But I think the experience that he brings in New Zealand, but also in these conditions, he's played a lot over here, county cricket. Played plenty of Test matches here as well. So, but yeah, he's been fantastic for us. He's a strike weapon. He's got a lot of great skills, and he leads the attack really well. He certainly gets around the other guys, and certainly leads from the front. So, it's obviously been a while, since he last played Test cricket in December as well. So he'll be really excited to get the ball back in his hand and obviously lead the attack again.
Also with Mitchell Santner returning, just how important is he inside and sort of any previews with that?
Obviously when his injury happened, the time frames didn't quite look like they were going to marry up, but he's obviously done fantastically well to get his body right, to be over here now, and doing everything that he needs to do to play, which is fantastic from his point of view, but also our point of view as well. I think we've seen the leaps and bounds that he's made in Test cricket over a period of time, in a role that doesn't necessarily play a huge role in New Zealand conditions, but we know the experience that he's got, the skill set that he's got. So if he's called upon, we know he'll be ready to go.
Just how important is it going to be having experience in English conditions in your bowling attack with Matt Henry and also the reliable Latham Smith, who's been over here with Worcester, and then he moved to Surrey as well? How important is that experience going to be?
Yeah, very important. I think any time you come to conditions that are a little bit foreign or are different to your home country, then I guess leaning back on those experiences are really important. And as you said, we've had pretty much all of our attack have played county cricket or have played cricket over here at some point, during their career. So, for them it's important to lean back on their experiences. It is a slightly different, the conditions are slightly different, even though they kind of seem the same. As I said, the weather's a little bit different, but bringing it back to those experiences that we've had before, in these conditions, what's required at the time, and for us it's always about trying to play what's in front of us as best we can, and being able to adapt to those conditions, and we've got the bowlers, the skill set that they're able to do different skills when required. So again, playing what's in front of us is what's important for us.
G'day, Tom. Just going back to last week in Belfast, there are kind of competing opinions on how suitable it is to prep for a series in England by going to Ireland. Just wanted to get your perspective on that. How worthwhile was the week in Northern Ireland? Yeah,
I think it was great. I think any time you're able to, play a competitive game where there are consequences, I think is beneficial. From a batting point of view, the process of padding up, time on your feet, things like that we haven't necessarily had for a period of time are really important. Time in bowlers' legs, being able to back up the next day, things like that are, to me are really important. And I look back, we had a really great week in New Zealand training at our high performance centre, where we were able to get outdoors and try to replicate things as much as we can. So, even though we've played a limited amount of red ball cricket or Test cricket over the last few months, the training that we've had leading up to now has been really beneficial. And as I said, I think last week was a great opportunity for us to, understand how we want to operate in these conditions and try, keep building on the work that we've done previously, before that week, but also how we want to operate over the next few weeks.
And just on those conditions here, it's likely to be wet the next couple of days. As we know, are you pretty close to knowing what your 11 will be, and how much would the wet weather inform that if it is at the late toss?
We'll obviously finalise that now. Once we get to get into training, whether we're training much, might not be training a lot, but again, it's always about trying to work out what we think is the right option and the right balance heading into this Test match. So we'll find out tomorrow.
And just quickly, Carl Jamieson, good to go as far as you're concerned.
Yeah, he's been great. Again, sort of similar to Mitch in terms of the work that he's done, to get his body right, to be able to play Test cricket again. He's played a lot of white ball cricket over our home summer, and he's been taking, I think the leaps and bounds that he's taken over the last sort of few weeks to months, to get his loads up. He's obviously been in India, which has been challenging, but he's done everything he can to be right, and to see him back is awesome for us. We know what he's done with the red ball and our team, and it's going to be great to see him walking out again.
Rashid left the IPL a couple of weeks ago to switch his focus to this series. Was that always the plan with him? How did that plan come about?
I don't necessarily think it was always the plan. I think with him not playing, he obviously wanted an opportunity to potentially get himself right to play in that test, and just the way it happened, he was able to come home early, get a little bit of training done in New Zealand, and then obviously play in that test match in Ireland, which is obviously great. So, he obviously played fantastically well last week when we were under a little bit of pressure in that game, and he's a kid, I guess, with an amazing amount of talent, amazing amount of skill, and for him to switch his focus to this format to give himself the best opportunity that he needed, and he thought that was the right option. So it was great to have him last week.
So it was his decision to leave the IPL?
Yes.
And technically, how useful might it be that he's had a couple of weeks to focus on this format?
I guess every individual is slightly different in terms of how they like to prepare or they like to operate, and I think Rachin found that this was going to give him the best opportunity to be ready to be in a position where he's changed his focus from formats from obviously T20 to Test cricket. So look, I think for him, if you speak to him, I would say he's found it hugely beneficial. We know that doesn't necessarily guarantee results, but he feels he's given himself the best opportunity to be ready. And as I said, we're stoked to have him last week.
And it says a lot about how he sees the Test game, that he was willing to make that sacrifice. And you must kind of appreciate that you have players who would do that for you.
Yeah, we've got a huge amount of Test cricket coming up over the next sort of 6 to 12 months. And Rachin's obviously a really key member of our side, and to have him back playing for us was awesome. And this is what he wanted to do, is him wanting to give himself to play Test cricket, to play another Test for New Zealand, and as I said, I thought it was his best way to prepare for what we've got coming up. So as I said, we're certainly stoked to have him.
So can I just check all the fast bowlers are fully fit and available?
They sure are.
Right. And just heading into this, obviously a lot of pressure on England and Brendan post what happened in Australia. How conscious are you of that as a team, and is it something you can lean into at all and use to your advantage?
Not really. It's not really something that we've spoken about. Obviously know what they've been through. It's certainly been well documented around a few changes, obviously a few changes in personnel, and potentially a few changes in the style that they may play. But as I said at the start here, whether it's playing England, whether it's playing other teams, it's about us being able to adapt to what's thrown in front of us. And there's so much outside noise that comes with heading into a Test series, and we know they've come off a series where obviously didn't perform as well as they would have liked, and they'll be hungry. We know they'll be hungry. They're always a competitive side, regardless of whether we play them at home or over here. So I just think it's a hugely exciting series. Two quality teams that that haven't played Test cricket for a while, and we know there's going to be times where we're under pressure. There's going to be times where we might be on top at points, but I guess it's recognising those situations as best we can, and being able to capitalise when we get the opportunity.
Final question from Jude.
You said all your fast bowlers are fit. I mean, how exciting is it from your point of view as a captain to have that kind of firepower available to you?
Yeah, it's awesome. I guess any time that you have a skill set of guys that offer something slightly different. You got Henners and Nathan Smith that are able to move the ball in the air off the surface, and then you've got the height of Jameson, O'Rourke, Tickner. We're certainly fortunate that we've had guys that do offer something slightly different than maybe what we've had in the past. And I think the challenge in international sport or international cricket is to have everyone available at one time. We know the demands that cricket has now and the landscape of cricket, from changing format to format, and different opportunities that present to different guys. But to have them all available here for a really important series is awesome. And it's the nets haven't necessarily been that fun, but looking forward to them running out tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, guys.